I'm very happy to share my views here. I joined as Protector General of Emigrants on 24th June 2020. So not very old here. The office is very old, as Sir has said. So you all know about the functions of the Protector General of Emigrants. Now, COVID brought in new challenges to the office because we deal with overseas employment, but the major part is immigration clearances to largely the unskilled and semi-skilled immigrants who go to the Gulf countries. Now, we propose to have a new immigration bill introduced in the parliament shortly, which will facilitate immigration, which will make it more transparent. That is the endeavor, at least. And so that, as Dr. Singh has said, so that we promote migration rather than being an obstacle to migration. Our idea is to promote migration. So the most important change that will be brought about in the Immigration Act will be that instead of clearances, which are online anyway now, even the recruiting agents, when they apply for a registration with the Protector General of Emigrants, everything is online. So now they will just do a registration, simple registration of a few minutes rather than taking clearances. So that is a big change, apart from other administrative changes. So I'll just run through this PowerPoint presentation which we have, which has some of the features of the new bill. And then I would also talk about some of the changes that we have brought about because of COVID-19 in terms of facilitating the recruiting agents, because the registered recruiting agents are our backbone. Because as you would know, a lot of people go through illegal channels, but we have to help the recruiting agents who are registered with us and who take the immigrants and provide jobs to them primarily in the Gulf countries. So some of the shortcomings of the Immigration Act 1983 were that we don't have enough data about the immigrants who go abroad. For example, the e-migrate system that we have captures only the immigration clearance required immigrants, which is about, for example, 350,000 people last year. But as you all know, a lot of much more than this go through other channels, for example, on visitors visa to the Gulf, and then they convert it into employment. So our endeavor is to bring these agents also within the system. To how can we do that? That we'll discuss also. Right now, as I mentioned, the regime is more regulatory in nature. Can we go to the previous slide, please? Yeah, it's regulatory in nature rather than a facilitator. So we intend to remove clearances and just bring in a very simple registration process. The pre-departure orientation training for immigrants is already there. It is proposed to be brought in. Skill upgradation will be done. We have labor cooperation agreements with the Gulf countries, and we will streamline them. There will be welfare measures for people going abroad. At state level, we will establish committees headed by, which will include the Home Secretary, the Labor Secretary, and the Secretary dealing with NRI affairs. And punishments will be made more stringent for illegal agents. Next slide, please. This I have already mentioned, that immigration would be managed rather than controlled by a simple registration process. What we intend to do is that all people, the ECR and the ECR regime would go. So all people who go abroad for employment through the human resource agents, as we would call them rather than recruiting agents, would need to be registered. This will be a simple registration process. For other people who do not go through the HRAs, that is, for example, a person is going to US to work in the Silicon Valley, there will be voluntary registration. This is to capture data for policy making. And this voluntary app would be, say, on the mobile phone, and a person can fill in his basic data about, if he wants to, that is, in a very simple manner, so that we have a database for policy formulation. We intend to introduce some innovative features in this app. For example, we would have the various tourism sites of the place where the person is going. We would have sort of an emergency button so that if the person falls in some difficulties, he can immediately, contact the concerned Indian mission. Then features like if he wants to translate some signage of some country in some other language, it will be converted to English. Similarly, translation of the local language of that country into English and things like that. This will incentivize them to register in a few minutes. This I am talking of the people who are not going to the HRAs, because the people who are going to the human resource agents are vulnerable ones. Those are the ones who have to compulsorily register, but not clearance. Huh? Now, the human resource, last one, please. I'm not yet finished. Human resource agencies would need to register with lesser bank guarantees and space requirements. This we have already done. Even in the present regime, we have reduced all the bank guarantees on various categories like 8 lakh, 16 lakh, and up to 50 lakh, which the recruiting agent has to deposit with the PG's office, to half. And the space requirements, which is presently 50 square meters, has been done etiquette. Now, etiquette means even if it is a very minimal thing, our endeavor is we don't want people to spend a lot, or recruiting agents to spend a lot on space requirements, especially in times of COVID when they are facing huge financial crunches. And this would also induce illegal agencies, because sometimes they think, oh, I'll have to spend a lot of money on having an office and things like that. Then we will make provision for human resource agents to register as companies or limited liability partnerships. This will bring them in the organized sector. They will be able to take loans and hire HR talent, etc. The OIA 1 division and the PG division will be called the Bureau of Immigration Policy and Bureau of Immigration Administration. There will be immigrants welfare committees and missions. In some form it is already there, but it will be formalized. I've already talked about nodal committees in the states and punishments more stringent. Next slide, please. This I have already talked about. Next slide. Yeah, so this is there will be a simple electronic method of registration via an app. This is for the people who don't go through HRAs. The ones who go through HRAs will have to register on the eMigrate system. I have already mentioned about the incentives which we'll give for registering for people who are not going through HRAs, because we want to have their data for policy making. We will publicize this information widely through print and audio media, through media banners, posters, etc., and print and audio media. Next one. The human resource agents would be registered with a nominal bank guarantee and without any minimum space requirements. Already we have reduced it. We have seen that the bank guarantee has been revoked for recruiting agents only 14 times in the last 10 years. So we don't intend to keep. We can even think of a part or a large portion of the bank guarantee in terms of some insurance schemes. That is also on the cards. Currently, 878 recruiting agents are registered as proprietorship, and already we have 242 as companies and 272 under the partnership. We will also, I was told that pre-2009, there are some recruiting agents who are registered as a proprietorship, and they would continue to want to register as proprietorship only. So we will keep a provision in the bill to let them do so for some time, because they may not be, because we don't want to disturb them very much. Next one. Rating of HRAs is like, any organization has awards for people who excel. We have the Padma Awards in India for outstanding achievement. Every field has. So there will be a criteria on which the recruiting agents or the human resource agents would be rated, and then awards would be given to them. This could be the number of workers sent abroad, the number of grievances against HRAs. We will devise a system. This is an idea. We will keep discussing this with various stakeholders. Average time for closure of grievances. You can have a look on the board. Next one. Labor and welfare wing in Indian missions, already it is there. It will be more streamlined. We have defined certain people who will be there in this committee. This will include the head of mission. It will include the NRI associations of that host country. It will include some representatives from the local ministries of the host country. It will provide counseling and legal services, facilitation of medical services. Pravasi Bharatiya Sahayata Kendras already exist in Dubai, Jeddah, Riyadh, and Kuala Lumpur, and they will continue to do so. These are 24/7 helplines for immigrants. Next
Mr.
one.
Mr. Sangwan, may I request you to just move a little quicker if possible?
Yeah, it's already almost finished. Next one. Yeah, this I have already explained. Next one. Registration also I have explained. Immigration bill, what will be the features. Next one. Welfare and protection also I have explained to you. Next, please. This is just a comparison of. Next one, please. I think, yeah, that was it. So I've also, now, for example, space requirements, and also one more point which we have, which I didn't cover in the presentation, was that one benefit that we have given presently to the recruiting agents because of COVID is that all recruiting agents who apply for fresh registrations or for renewal of their licenses up to 31st March 2021, no fee will be charged for them, and there will be an automatic approval. So now I think I have covered most of the questions which Rohini had sent me, but if there are, I can answer them.